Oh, hey, it's Ron from Ron's Computer Videos. Thanks for taking a minute to swing by this evening, even if it was kind of unannounced, but that's all right. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about a book that I borrowed from my public library, which is called Keep It Simple: The Early Design Years of Apple. This is a cool book that is all about the history of frog design. Which, if you're familiar with kind of the early days of the Macintosh and kind of the late Apple II era, there was a lot of things that Frog Design made for Apple. Their industrial design was kind of unlike anything else, and that's what Apple was going for. So this book outlines many of the prototypes and different designs that Frog Systems and Apple worked on together. Just the wealth of stuff that's in this book is just amazing. I haven't been able to pick up a copy of this for myself because it is quite expensive. But I was able to get a copy from my local library and was able to thumb through it. I know that there's versions and stuff you can find online in the usual places, but there's something about having the physical book here so you can actually sit down and really analyze and look at some of the very high resolution photography that kind of captures all of these neat prototypes. So since I have the book, why don't we just flip through it real fast and then come back and talk about it. so there you have it. I really thought it was neat, just sort of all the little details of things that eventually became real Apple products, and other things that just sort of inspired things maybe later. Like you saw kind of at the end of the book, there's a lot of like consumer electronics items like the phone and music players and things like that, which, you know, obviously Apple got involved with much later. But I think one of the neat things in here was sort of that expose about the Apple Jonathan, which is that modular system where you just kind of plugged in modules for the different sort of devices and stuff that you wanted on your machine. All the mock-ups of like sort of like the Apple IIc and all that type of stuff, I love that, and how that all turned into real products eventually. And I really appreciated the little section that was all about the Apple minimalist keyboard, which was the ADB keyboard they ended up using with the Apple IIgs, which is still hands down my favorite Apple keyboard to this day. I would say the book itself goes into a lot of detail about sort of the early relationship with Steve Jobs and with the head of Frog Systems, Hartmut Esslinger, and just sort of like their working relationship and his the sort of the feedback that they gave designers, and Steve getting ousted from Apple and going to Next and then coming back, and just sort of like just a lifetime of work history between these two guys, and butting heads on things and then agreeing about things, but really in the end completely changing the industry and changing how people look at computers, less as kind of like sterile boxes with technology inside, into something more human and more of an information appliance, something you bring into your home and make part of your family, rather than just something that only exists to do taxes and maybe run an educational program for your kids. So anyway, if you can find a copy of the book for a decent price, I mean, pick it up. But my suggestion would be absolutely to reach out to your public library and see if they can use the Galahad system to maybe request it from another institution, and get it and sit down and thumb through it and read the articles and just kind of have fun with it like I did. So it's great, and I hope that you think it's great too. So anyway, that's it for the moment. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been a little bit of time with me this evening, and as I always say, Apple II forever.